Okay, this is the last page of the 4.4 notes. So we've been talking about finding the LCM. Now we're going to pull it together to find the LCD, because really where this is, one area where this is very important is in finding common denominators, and that's what LCD stands for, least common denominator. So example 3 says, last year a poll of 1,200 students found that 300 spoke a first language other than English. This year, a poll of 10,000 students found that 4,000 spoke a first language other than English. In which year was the fraction of non-English first language speakers greater? Okay, so first write the fraction. So the first poll was 300 out of 12,000, or I'm sorry, 1,200. All right, and then it says and simplify. So I could see that we can divide both of these by 300, and I'm going to get 1/4. The second fraction would have been, there was 10,000 students, 4,000 spoke a first language other than English. So 4,000 out of 10,000. I can divide both of these by 2,000, and I'm going to get 2/5. Okay, so we have our two fractions simplified. They want us to find the LCD of each, so the least common denominator. So really what I'm looking for here is the LCM of 4 and 5. Because these are my denominators. So what is the least common multiple that both of 4 and 5? I could do my Euclid's method, or I may just know that the only thing that both 4 and 5 go into, the smallest thing both 4 and 5 go into, is 20. Okay, so I found the LCD, the least common denominator, because remember we're referencing fractions here. So they want me, that's the answer for step 2. Step 3 is write equivalent fractions using this LCD. So in lesson 4.3, we talked about equivalent fractions. I have 1/4. I want to get a denominator of 20. And I also over here, I have 2/5, but I have to get a denominator of 20. So let's go about doing that. 4 is being multiplied by 5, so I'm going to multiply 1 by 5, and that is my fraction 5/20. In this case, 5 is being multiplied by 4 to get 20, so 2 has to be multiplied by the same thing, by 4, to get 8. And that's what lesson 4.3 is on, writing equivalent fractions. Multiplying numerator and denominator by the same value produces an equivalent fraction. So now the last step says compare the numerator. So I have 5 out of 20, and I have 8 out of 20. Which one's bigger? This one. That means that in which year was the fraction of non-English first language speakers greater? The answer would be this year. And they don't tell us the year, so you can just write this year. Okay? Because this fraction represents the 4,000 out of 10,000 that were polled and asked. Okay? All right, now let's apply this to something not so concrete as that word problem. It's something just ordering the numbers from least to greatest. So first, write the mixed numbers as an improper fraction. So for this first one, it's going to be 8 times 2 is 16. 16 plus 7 is going to be 23. And I keep the denominator, 23/8. This one, 2 and 5, 6. 6 times 2 is 12. Plus 5, I get 17/6. And then last one is 23/10. It already is improper. Okay, now I need an LCD for, and take that E out, LCD of 8, 6, and 10. Well, let's work our way up. 10, 20, no. 30, no. 40, nope. 50, no. 60, no. And I could keep going, but it ends up that my LCD is 120. Okay? The LCD of 8, 6, and 10 is 120. Now, they want us to write equivalent fractions using this LCD. So what I would do is 23/8, and I need my denominator to be 120. So I'm going to see how do I get from here to here, and that's going to give me this value. And then I'm going to do it for this one, 17/6. I need my denominator of 120. So whatever I have to do to get from here to here, I'm going to do to get from there to there. And then the last one was 23/10, and I need my denominator of 120. So I have to find out whatever it is, whatever the multiplying factor is. So 8 into 120. Now I don't really know, so I might have to do some scratch work like we said. I think we found on the other page a lesson ago that it's 15. So 8 times 15, so then I'm going to multiply 23 times 15. 23, 15, 10, 11, 3, 2, 5, 4, 3. So 345. Okay? Now on this one, 6 is being multiplied by 20, so I'm going to do 17 times 20, and I'm going to get 340. And then the last one, 10 is being multiplied by 12, so I'm going to do 23 times 12. And again, a little bit of scratch work. Make sure you write neatly so that you don't mess up. 276. Hoping my writing is neat. Yep, that looks good. All right, now, so it says compare the numerator. So I'm going to write it neatly. My new fractions are this. I have 345 out of 120 as the first. Then I have 340 out of 120 as the second. And my last one is 276 out of 120. So which is they want us to order them from least to greatest. Well, the smallest one is this. So that would go first. The next smallest one is this, so it goes second, and then this is the third smallest one. So when I order them from least to greatest, I start with this one, 276 out of 120, which really was the last one. So I write it the original way it showed up, 23 over 10. Then I have 340 out of 120, which really was this middle one, 2 and 5, 6. And then the last one, or the largest one, was 345 out of 120, which is 2 and 7/8. And now they are ordered from least to greatest, and we have answered the problem. Good job, guys.